The stranger spread fear across southwest Michigan, a serial rapist breaking into homes, a trail of 9 victims. Now police say they know who he is. Recently taken DNA points to this man, Robert Taylor. But in a few years, he'll be a free man. The law can't touch him, and that frightens his victims. Target 8 investigator Ken Kolker broke this story last year that prompted the law that led to this suspect. And he's breaking this new development today live from Kalamazoo. Ken?
Brian, she spoke to us by phone, afraid to use her name, afraid to use her photograph, knowing that her attacker has nothing to fear.
Since I'm not afraid to speak out, I suppose there's a possibility that he could find out my name and try to harm me. And that's frightening.
She was one of 9 women raped in their own homes, 5 in Kalamazoo, 1 in Kalamazoo County, 1 in Portage, and 2 in St. Joseph in late 1989 and 1990. I
did not see his face. I used to, prior to that happening, I would think, well, how could you, not see a rapist's face? Well, now I know. I said he threw the, covers over my head and it was beating me. I fought back. I finally stopped fighting when I couldn't really breathe anymore.
And as he did with all of his victims, he raped her repeatedly.
He had everything very well planned, let's just say. He tied me up with things he found around in my own house, tied my feet with my iron cord, tied my hands with a belt. That he said he used things he found in the house.
But despite a task force and stepped-up patrols,
we were never able to identify a solid suspect.
And they never even considered Robert Ralph Taylor, who was convicted of breaking into a home in Kalamazoo, also in 1990. He sexually assaulted a 9-year-old girl who was in bed with her mom.
It didn't really fit into maybe the offender profile, if you will, at the time.
Taylor got more than 20 years in prison, stacked atop time for violating his parole, and is still there. But along with thousands of prisoners, he refused to give up his DNA. It was a Target 8 investigation that helped lead the state to change the law, no longer giving prisoners that option. Then in August, under that law, they took Taylor's DNA, linking him to 6 of 9 attacks. They expect to tie him to the rest. But it doesn't matter. Despite a change in the statute of limitations law 10 years ago, the rape cases are too old. He cannot be charged. It was one of his victims who testified before the State House to change that law.
So I've known this for, 10 plus years. That even if he was ever identified, it would be too late to charge him.
Now she's afraid what will happen in 2021.
Well, I'm concerned for the safety of anyone he contacts.
And so are police.
The best predictor of future behavior is past behavior, and I think there would be certainly a growing concern that this person would be out in any community.
Now, police are saying that this case shows a need for new state law regarding DNA in old cases just like this. And it's an issue we'll continue to follow. Live in Kalamazoo, Ken Kolker, Target 8.